Soha Toje gun la nyomba chom den de tsenzama tebe ngende donge se dozomane se sangye mingi la benduria yuji jawola cha che lo. With my deepest homage and respect to Medicine Buddha, the supreme healer of all the diseases the human beings suffer. Now, Tashi Delek to all my dear friends. I'm here again for the second time. In my previous short video that I made about the benefit of the boiled hot water. Now, my name is Lobsang. I'm born in Tibet and then left Tibet in 1959 at the age of 9. So now I'm living in Barcelona, Spain for the last nearly almost 30 years. So now my main reason I'm here again is to share a little bit about the influence of mind for physical and psychological health based on Tibetan medicine. Since I'm in the lockdown, so I thought better to share a little bit about the information about the mental influences for the health. So I'm here to share a little bit about that, but it's not something easy to share in 30 or 40 minutes. So because I want to go a little bit more deeper, or to make it more clear to understand what is the influence of the mind for psychological and the physical health, and then what are the relation between body and mind. So what are the impact or influence they make each other. So to make this clear understanding, to recognize the relationship, then you will understand the influences. So for that, in my sharing my views will be 2 or 3 sessions or even maybe 4 sessions, in which it will include, now like today, you'll get some basic information about the Tibetan medicine, basic concept and the structure. And then later I will explain about the relation between body and the mind, and then the causes of the disease and what are the ways to help. So I try to do this in 3 or 4 sessions, and those who are interested, you can view these in few sessions. So I do this voluntarily, but I don't know whether people will like it or not. This I have no idea, but I try to do it with my pure motivation. So okay, so now in Tibet there are 10 principal cultures very popularly practiced in Tibet, and among the 10, the most important culture which was very popularly influenced in Tibet is the Buddhist culture. And in the Buddhist culture, also there are different levels and different chapters and divisions which will explain a different subject. So now I cannot go detail because that's not something it's related with my knowledge capacity. So anyhow, basically what I hear from the His Holiness Dalai Lama's frequent explanation that Buddhism can be classified into 3 categories. So he called it, one is called Sowa Rigpa, meaning it is psychology. So it's a Buddhist psychology which explains very profoundly, very deeply to understand the nature of mind and how the mind can make from minor problem to the major problems, and how the mind can even achieve the absolute happiness. So these are the subjects which are included in the Buddhist psychology. And then the second one is called the Buddhist philosophy of life. So Buddhist philosophy of life explains very importantly again, very useful and very beneficial for the human life in general. How to deal with our daily life problem and how to make our life more meaningful and more successful. And then you have a Buddhist religion. So Buddhist religion is particularly for the Buddhist people. So his one says the Buddhist religion is Buddhist business. So that means people who really want to practice seriously Buddhism is for them. Now the Buddhist philosophy of life and the Buddhist psychology, and even there are more, which are more for the human society, nothing to do with a particular religion or believer or non-believer or particular caste or no. This is a universally beneficial. So these two, philosophy of life and the Buddhist psychology, these two is useful for whole entire human society. So his one has been working with the great scientists and neurologists, different specialist people for over 30 years, how to make the human society to be a better quality of life. So that is mainly Sowa Rigpa and the Buddhist psychology and the philosophy. Okay. So now another very important culture which is very popularly practiced and recognized by the Tibetans in Tibet is Sowa Rigpa. Sowa Rigpa means, Sowa means cure or heal, Rigpa means a science. So that meaning is the Tibetan medicine. So Sowa Rigpa plays a very, very important role in the human society, and particularly in the past in Tibet and all the area, Himalayan area or countries which have been has a fully influences of the Tibetan medicine. So this particular medicine, Sowa Rigpa, is a unique Tibetan medical culture which goes back to the history more than 2,500 years, but it became very popularly, very actively practiced in Tibet since the more or less 8th century. Of course, there's another medical culture already exists in Tibet, pre-Buddhist culture, pre-Buddhist medical culture, which is called Bon tradition. So a Bon medical system is already exists in Tibet. So anyhow, Tibetan medicine is a very popularly practiced in Tibet, and millions of people have benefited to eliminate their suffering or to overcome their problems mentally and physically. And Tibetan medicine is not only practiced in Tibet, but it's also very popularly influenced in many neighboring countries. For example, in all the Himalayan regions which are connected to India, like Sikkim, Bhutan, Ladakh, Spiti, Kasha, all these regions, in the past, they are all traditional medical system is Sowa Rigpa. And then in all the Himalayan regions which are connected to the Tibet border, like Mustang and Manang and all those regions also, the Tibetan medicine is very popularly practiced in the past. And then in Mongolia also, for many centuries, the Tibetan medicine is very popularly practiced as a traditional official medicine in the Mongolia in the past. So even now, all these regions are having many amchis, means amchis in Tibetan language, amchi means medical physicians or doctors who still practice in these countries the Tibetan medicine very popularly. Now, Tibetan medicine gradually started known into the West not very recently now, quite recently means 2-3 decades. It started knowing by the our Western friends or brothers and sisters in the West. So Tibetan medicine is not something newly invented. It has a long history, and all the great ancestors of Tibetan medicine, our great masters in the past, who have dedicated their whole lifetime in studying, making investigation, research, experiment, experiencing, and then they brought this knowledge into practice and brought this knowledge till to our time. So I deeply appreciate all those great masters, our ancestors, who have made this precious knowledge available in the world to help the human health problems. So Tibetan medicine now, even it has an influence in the past also because of the border linked with China and Tibet. There are many areas with the Tibetan medicines are quite well known even in China. But particularly now, even in China or even in Tibet, after the Cultural Revolution, when they destroyed all the Tibetan culture, but Tibetan medical culture, they really reopened all the centers, the medical centers, institutions, and they have made a big propagation of Tibetan medicine even in Tibet. So it's very popularly practiced in Tibet, very well preserved in culture in Tibet. Only the culture that are very popularly recognized by the Chinese. And even in China, the Tibetan medicine became very popular. So this is a very short information about the Tibetan medical, the influences in. Now in India, when the Tibetans came to India in 1959 with His Holiness Dalai Lama, so His Holiness Dalai Lama very importantly predicted the importance of the Tibetan medical preservation. So he introduced different Tibetan cultural centers like Buddhist schools, monasteries, and then in 1961 he very importantly opened the medical center or medical institutions in Dharamsala, where many young Tibetans have been studying. Until now, hundreds and hundreds of have graduated from these medical institutions, and then later also they introduced two more institutions or schools where the people, Tibetan people or Himalayan people can study the Tibetan medicine, and one is called Chakpuri in North India, and one is Banaras in Saranath in the Tibetan higher study, beside the main medical institution in Dharamsala, which is called Medzikang, Astro Medical Institution. So these are the area where the people can study Tibetan medicine. And in India and Nepal, they have introduced so many Tibetan medical clinics from Dharamsala. So all these medical clinics were very popularly or very famous for treating different problems in the Indian community. So Tibetan medicine doctors are not only working with the Tibetan community, but they are working, I think, more about, 30, 40 or 50 clinics in India and Nepal they have introduced, where thousands and thousands of local Indians are coming to get treatment, and they have been very successfully helping. Now, even the Indian government has legally recognized Tibetan medicine, 2-3 years ago. So that's something I want to share with you. And now there are quite a lot of Tibetan doctors working in America or in Europe, some places, even in a very important field like research work or in the university like so. Tibetan medicine is quite importantly recognized now even in many places beside the Tibet. Now, Tibetan medicine, I said, is a unique because we call it Sowa Rigpa. So it means something to cure the disease based on the reality, the truth, and the fact, through working intensively based on kind of a research experiment. So the Tibetan medicine is a very broad subject, a very deep subject that it's not something that you can study in 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months' time. No, it needs many, many years of study theoretically and many years of practically experiences. So it's a huge major culture in Tibet, and which needs a lot of time to study, and then you can become a good amchi or tsoze or member, meaning different name, but all meaning is physician. So Tibetan doctors work with all kind of disease. So these are just basic, very short information before I go to the. I know many people know about the Tibetan medicine, but in case someone doesn't know what is this, so it's not a newly invented, but this has been, I said it has been practiced for many, many centuries, and millions of people have been benefited, and many, it has really given a very huge, a very, very, how to say, a constructive service to the human health problem, okay? Now, another thing I want to share with you people is that all the existing knowledge, whether you call it knowledge or wisdom or education, whatever, all these actually are universal property. It belongs to the whole human society. All the wisdom, knowledge does not belong to any particular country or particular religion or particular caste or particular color. No, this belongs to the whole human society, because since the human problem is experienced everywhere by all types of people. No matter whether you are black or white or gray or whatever, whether you are rich or poor, or the health problem has been experienced by all people, okay? So, and then we also say the human problem is boundaryless. There's no any boundary, or there's a limit saying this is the limit of the human problem. No, human problem is so huge, you cannot imagine how big, how huge it is, and we call it limitless and the boundaryless suffering. So, if the problem or the suffering is a boundaryless, humilless, that means even the knowledge, the wisdom, which should help this problem, or which should make the problem to overcome or eliminate the problems, the wisdom is also limitless, boundaryless. So there's no any limit saying this is enough to study to help the human problem. It's impossible, okay? So you see, that means according to our understanding, but the past centuries and centuries, so many people have worked so much hard to find a solution for the human problems, and billions of dollars have been invested for making a research or looking for the solution to help the problem, but we are still couldn't get the full success to help all the problems. So this is the one thing that we will clearly understand, that the human problem is boundaryless and limitless. Okay, so what I mean is that now we experience again why I say the problems, there are always some new problems are appearing. And then again you have to look at new solution to help this kind of problem. Now recently, right now we all are experiencing now this coronavirus, which are newly invented, and the whole world got panic, shock, confused. And even it's never happened in the history that the whole world is almost like a lockdown. Everybody has to remain at home. I don't think that even it happened even in the World War. So anyhow, this is a new problem. So that means, again, to find a solution for this problem, you need a wisdom. You need a kind of another mental intelligence to look for the solution to overcome this problem. So that meaning is problem has no limit and wisdom has no limit. So more problems are appearing, more you need to learn something to help the problem. Okay? So now what I really mean to say, why I want to talk this about that the human problem has no limit, meaning is health, particularly in the physical health. You can imagine in this 4, 5 or 6 feet body, there are so many different diseases that we experience. So now, in order to understand the universal property, which we say universal property, so meaning all the knowledge belongs to whole humanity. So we have to be a little bit more open-minded to look wherever you can get something benefit, you have to take it. And for that, you have to be open-minded. Of course, there exist so many medical systems. Scientific medicine, homeopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, Iranian medicine. I mean, there are so many medical systems, but even then we fail to help to cure all the disease that people are suffering. So that is another proof saying that the human problem is boundaryless and our wisdom is also so broad and so deep, there's no any end to say this is end to study and it's end up. Okay, so what I really want to say is that every medical culture that exists in the world can make some constructive or positive contribution in the global field of the health. So to understand this universal property, you have to be open-minded. So once you are open-minded, then say you'll try to take whatever is good from the other culture to help your patients or help your suffering human brothers and better more effectively. If you are not open-minded, if you are close-minded, then say, this is our system, that is your system. We don't accept this. This is not the right way. I mean, then you become very critical with your narrow-minded or with your close-minded, thinking that one system is perfect. That is impossible. Of course, the best at the moment, the present time, the most effective and the most beneficial medical culture or medical system is scientific medicine. Of course, we all agree that. Without this medical system, you will have a huge suffering in the world. But it doesn't mean that this one system can help all the problem. That is impossible, and I cannot agree with that. Because practically we know there are many problems that cannot be helped. So do other medical culture or systems cannot say that our system the best and it will cure everything. That is also impossible. It's not agreeable. So meaning is that every culture has something particular contribution can make. Some can make more, some can make less. But the whole medical cultures, their main aim and objective and the purpose of their life is to cure the disease, to help the problem. So in order to help this problem, no matter where you get it or how you get it, you try to take it to benefit the patients. So for that, I just want to say there are many things we can contribute from Tibetan medicine also in the global field. Based on our experience in the exile for 60 years, there are so many patients being treated in India, Nepal, or in other parts. Many patients have received a huge has a positive benefit. So Tibetan medicine, honestly speaking, is very good to work with the psychological problem, mental related problem, or what you call here psychosomatic. So it's quite very effective, but it doesn't mean that we are 100% can guarantee and cure everything. No, but generally Tibetan medicine benefits a lot because we understand the importance of the mind. So our ancestors has really dedicated a lot of time to make a particular work or research on how to help this mental related problem. So that's something that Tibetan medicine plays a very important role or as a contribution. And then Tibetan medicine is very particularly good for all the chronic disease. So in that field, Tibetan medicine, which is based on the natural herbs and plants and some minerals, so all this natural treatment, of course it takes time, but they can be very effective for the chronic disease. Now in the acute, serious problems, Tibetan medicine or even Ayurvedic or Chinese, I don't think they'll be very, very effective. For emergency cases, Western medicine is the best. So there are many diseases, I think the other medical. So what I'm saying that for the life-threatening disease, like something very serious, emergency problem, from my side, honestly speaking, the Tibetan medicine cannot do much. But otherwise, from the chronic disease, of course, there are some problems, serious problems. Of course, Tibetan, if they are not a life-threatening or something danger, immediate danger, no. But apart from that, Tibetan medicine actually helps very much to chronic disease. Now, Tibetan medicine is a very broad and huge subject because we work globally, not only focus on one problem. So we take care of the whole system, understanding the nature of the mind, the body relationship, the energies and the base, and particularly what we called, very importantly, we talk about the preventive systems, number one. Now, preventive system based on the psychology, on the alimentation, the food, the daily life behavior, discipline, climatic influences, all these different types. And then also Tibetan medicine explains very profoundly, very importantly, the importance of the alimentation for major support to cure the disease more fast, more rapidly, and not to get the disease worse. So like that, the alimentation, the behavioral patterns, like a lifestyle, which are very, very importantly considered in Tibetan medicine field to work together with your treatment or therapy, whatever you're doing. Otherwise, if you don't give clear instructions, advice about the food, the behavior, the climatic influences, there are quite a number of other things, then even if the therapy could be a quite interesting one, you mean the treatment, but if they eat wrong, if they do wrong, the treatment doesn't work. So in order to have a very supportive and successful achievement of the therapy, we must give the global advice beside the treatment. Whether you treat with the tablets or treat with, I don't know, a different method, whatever you use. And then plus also Tibetan medicine also advise a lot of external therapy, which plays a very important role, particularly if the disease is chronic or in the psychological related, for example, like massage, which looks a simple word to massage. But if you know the proper way of doing the massage for particular disease, massage gives a lot of big support for the mainstream of treatment. So these are a few things that I thought to share with the friends to know a little bit about the Tibetan medicine, how it's been, how we work with the Tibetan medicine. So Tibetan medicine works based on the holistic way, a little bit on the holistic way, also on the scientific, as I said, we look what are the reality. We cannot say this is our faith, we believe in that. No, something has to be a truth in the reality. So based on that, the treatments are more natural and it's also a holistic way related with the psychology. So Tibetan Buddhism has a strong connection with the Tibetan medicine because the origin is the same. So Tibetan medicine follow quite very strongly the influence of the psychology based on the Buddhist psychology. Okay, so these are the few things that I thought to share with you before I go to the main subject about the influence of the mind for physical and the psychological health that I talked before, and that will be in my next chapter that I'm going to speak, and hope people who are interested, they can follow, listen to. And my main interest is to tell the people, if you say such and such is good, we also must explain them profoundly how it is working to the body or mind. Just you cannot say, oh, it's like that, it's good for that. Now, for example, nowadays we do a lot of meditation. People say meditation is very good. People say calm down mind, of course, is very important. People say don't get angry, which is very bad. Of course, all this theoretically we know that, but we must feel that practically in our daily life, how it really influences you. So I want to share a little bit about that basic to recognize it, to understand exactly how the mind can play the role both for the psychology and physically. So I give example, like, a simple example. I don't know whether it makes sense or not. When we say, don't touch the fire and the fire will burn you, then theoretically everybody knows that the fire will burn. But the reality is that until you don't touch the fire by your own finger, how can you say the fire will burn, or how you will feel it, or how you will understand? So that's a theoretical, say, what's a fire will burn? But it's not the right way to say like that. You have to really feel it, and you have to recognize, and you have to realize, and then you keep strongly in your intellectual mind saying, yes, this is really destroys you. So that can be achieved by or conceived by the thoughts or your intellectual understanding only by touching the fire by your own finger. So once you touch, once your finger get burnt, then you recognize, oh, fire burns you. So that means even the children, whoever has this experience of practically touching the fire and feel the burning and the painful sensation, that is the way that mind understands clearly the fire will burn you, and from that very moment, you will never touch the fire again. That you clearly understand that this is that will give you a suffering or pain. So do the same in everything. What we talk shouldn't be only theoretical. It should be practically to understand that, and to be recognized by the mind, and to feel it and to understand it deeply, so that you don't repeat the mistake again. So for that, you have to have the clear understanding of how the mind will influence to the physical energy, and the physical energy, how it will influence to the mind, and what are the connection, what are the link between these two, body and mind. And once you really understand that, then you will recognize, similar to the fire will burn the finger, and then you will understand the anger will destroy you. Otherwise, you say anger is very bad, but people get angry, So that means we have not recognized perfectly that anger destroys you. If you really understood that, you will not get angry, because you clearly understand that you will not touch the fire again, because it will burn your finger. So for this kind of concept I want to share with my friends, to make a little bit more clear understanding how our mind plays the game, constructively or destructively. So hopefully the people will learn something or understand something through this short talk. So until our next the session about the importance of the human life, and what are the basic structure of the body and mind based on Tibetan medicine, and the energy and all those things. And then we will talk about the relation between mind and body. Once you recognize, then you will say, yes, meditation is good, because it helps this and that, and it makes this calm, it makes this better. Otherwise, just say meditation is good, during the stress tension part, you can just close your eyes, and it might benefit you temporarily during the closed eyes moment. But once you go out of the meditation, again you're suffering. That means the absolute benefit is not there. It's just a short-term benefit. So closing eyes is not really something that will change your mind. The main thing is to calm down your mind. You have to recognize what are the consequences of this stupid mind. What we call monkey mind. Very popularly now the Buddhist teachers, they say monkey mind. So to make this mind more aware, more conscious, to recognize the fundamental cause of the problem, and once you recognize that, once you have awareness, consciousness, mindfulness, and then you have the first step will be prevention or preventive care, to not to repeat the mistake or not to put your finger again to the fire. So hope this information slowly make you understanding in the future, and then after that we will explain about the cause of the mind and body relation problem, based on the psychology, based on the food, based on the climate, whatever, and what are the possible method or way to help this problem, the solution I hopefully to share with you all. Until then, please stay safe, take care of yourself, and till the situation is not coming back to the normal, please follow very carefully the instructions given by all the health connected people, or even the government, whoever gives you the advice. Follow strictly, and don't be impatient. The impatience always makes you problem. Be patient is called success. So be patient to remain at home, enjoy your time with your family. This is the opportunity to be with your family, with your children, whatever. And then you have free time. Don't stay just thinking about when I can go out, when it will happen, what will happen. Just going on this mental attitude will give you a lot of stress, and every moment will be very stressful. So say, thank God that I have now time to rest, and I will take a good rest and prepare myself to be healthy once the problem is over, and I will go back to my work with good health. And after you say yes, now this is the opportunity to enjoy the time with the family, which I never had before, always hectic, moving around. So there are many ways to think positively. To remain inside is not stressful. Do meditation, yoga, exercise, whatever is possible, but take the time as an opportunity, but not as an obligation, pressure, like you are in the prison. Not like that. You are not in prison, you are at your home with your family. And then also think about so many people around the world who have a very, very difficult situation. Then you say, I cannot complain too much because I'm much having better condition than the others. So these are a way to think yourself and teach yourself, and then try to make the time more useful, beneficial. Anyhow, you are happy or not happy, but you have to stay. Then better to stay with more, using the positive thoughts, and enjoy the time with your family, learning, studying, whatever is possible. So with this, I pray to all the mighty, we say Buddhas or God and whatever, we have your faith. We all pray together to overcome the crisis of the virus problem from the world very fast, and we come back to our normal life and enjoy the precious human life. Till then, take care, stay safe. Wish you all a good health and happiness. Tashi Delek.